On this episode, we interview Kevin Maes, author of a new book called Kingdom of Trials.
So if you've ever wondered what the Thai justice system looks like from the inside in the wake of a murder investigation, you'll dig this episode of the Bangkok Podcast.
Sawadee krap, this is the Bangkok Podcast. My name is Greg Jorgensen, a Canadian who has never been put in prison in Thailand, but if I step on one more sidewalk tile and get a squirt of dirty water up my leg, that might change.
Man, that's a little bit of a callback. That hasn't happened to me in a while.
You're like, I'm in the free, and then
bam, it happens again.
Out of the blue.
And I met Knuth, an American who came to Thailand on a one-year teaching contract over 25 years ago. Fell in love with being called Farong by Thai people who know my name, so I never left.
That's a good one. I find it kind of charming. Some people get insulted by it, but
well, it's funny.
I find it silly, but I don't get offended by it.
It's funny because it's in the West it would be incredibly rude to just refer to someone as foreigner, but in Thailand it just somehow passes and you just kind of roll with it.
I don't know. In Gladiator, they called Maximus the Spaniard all the time. So I take it maybe they think I'm a badass warrior.
There you go.
Spaniard.
All right. We want to give a big thank you to one of our patrons, George Hallett, who supports us at the show shoutout level. Stick around after our interview with author Kevin Maes to hear why Greg has convinced him to join a bike ride, which he has dubbed the Goldilocks ride.
Yeah, it's going to be fun.
We also want to give a big thanks to all of our patrons who support the show. Patrons get every episode a day early, behind-the-scenes photos of our interviews, a heads-up to send questions to upcoming guests, and access to our Discord server to chat with me, Greg, and other listeners around the world. But best of all, patrons also get an unscripted, uncensored bonus episode every week where we riff on current events and Bangkok topics. On this week's bonus show, we chatted about the culmination of my long-brewing, moving drama, a discussion about Greg's trip to explore the jungles and rivers of Chiang Mai and Chiang Rai, some thoughts on the huge sinkhole that opened up on Samsen Road last week, and Greg's report of an interesting and ultimately successful birds and bees discussion with his son. To learn how to become a patron and get all this good stuff, plus full access to over 800 bonus and regular back episodes, click the support button at the top of our website.
The ultimate goal in doing this with my son is to make sure that no woman ever laughs at his lack of knowledge of how she works.
It sounds like you might have some bad memories.
No, I've just seen how vicious women can be when guys are dumb. So that's my job.
Funny.
Also, don't forget, if you listen to us on Spotify, you can now hear all of our bonus shows there as well. If you're a patron, simply link your Patreon account to your Spotify account and add our new feed titled Bangkok Podcast to badass patrons only to hear the regular and bonus shows in the same place. All right, on this episode, we were lucky enough to be invited to an actual podcast studio by this week's guest. We were introduced to a guy by the name of Kevin Maes, an author with a new book whose story is pretty wild. I'll just quote directly from the book jacket here. Kevin's dream life in Thailand shatters when he intervenes in a domestic dispute and is accused of murdering his ex-wife's boyfriend. With cultural and language barriers, vanishing evidence, and legal loopholes working against him, the Belgian expat must unravel the events of that fateful night to avoid imprisonment in Thailand's notorious Bangkok Hilton prison. Makes my frustrations with Thai bank tellers seem a little bit quaint in comparison. Now, as I said, we took a trip to Kevin's studio on Rama 4, and we actually recorded some of our video for the episode too, which we'll upload on Patreon for patrons, and which you can see on Kevin's YouTube channel soon. So here is our fascinating discussion with our friend, author Kevin Maes. All right, bit of a departure this week. We are talking to our brand new friend, Kevin Maes. Did I say that correctly?
Yeah, you said it correctly.
Kevin Maes, welcome to the Bangkok
You're the first
podcast.
one in Bangkok probably that says it correctly. So
well, I do have European stock somewhere far in my ancestors.
You must.
Yeah, so Kevin Maes, welcome to the Bangkok podcast, and I'm here with Ed as well.
Hello, hello.
Yeah. Now, like I said, a little bit of a departure this week because we are actually recording this in a studio.
Yeah.
And as an aside, are we...
You should talk to the camera once in a while as well.
Yeah, I should. I'm not used to being on camera. Can we put this camera, this video on our channel too, or just audio?
Look, I will edit it and then sure.
All right.
Yeah.
Well, we're not used to recording in a studio, so this is really an interesting thing. So this is your studio, and you invited us down here to have a chat. So we're doing a little bit of a cross promotion here. So really interesting topic we're going to talk about this week, and you have a crazy story. Yeah. So give us a skinny, man. Where are you from? Who are you? Why are you here? And what are we going to talk about?
Yeah. So I have two parts of being in Thailand. Part one was I lived here 16 years. Had a company doing import of beauty products, cosmetics, medical devices.
Mm-hmm. And you're from Belgium?
Originally from Belgium, yeah. Well, I like to say Antwerp. You know, Belgium is a very weird country with two parts of people that don't like each other. So
kind of like Canada, right?
Yeah. Well, it's very, very similar to Canada. So, I like to say Antwerp, we are very proud of that. So we are from the Flemish part, not the French part.
All right.
It's a joke that I have to watch out with when I do it in Bangkok because, you know, when people ask me, which part are you from? And I say from the good part. And then by accident, I said it 3 times already to a guy that was from the bad part. So,
funny.
And they don't think it's funny. But
Yeah,
for me, it's like super funny then, you know. But
right.
But the French have a very little sense of humor. So, so I've been here 16 years. And then I had an unfortunate event happening, which we will talk about a little bit in this podcast. So I had to leave Thailand again. Mm-hmm. So I've been back for 1.5 years in Belgium. There was a mixed feeling experience, you know, because I lived my entire adult life here. I came here when I was 23.
Right.
Wow.
I never knew anything else. So this was...
So it's weird to go back to, even though you were born in Belgium, it was weird to
go back there. It was super weird because it's very weird to see how detached you get after 16 years being in a different place. And again, I think for me, because I was my adult life here, it's even different, right? So you just grew up as a kid, so you have all those memories. But it was... The country changed a lot.
And plus, you went back under weird circumstances, so you probably got a lot of questions in Belgium. You know, why are you back? Yeah. What happened?
Well, the story was front page news in Belgium. So
it was? Oh, okay.
Yeah, everybody knew. So after the night it happened, I was with my face on the biggest news channel in Belgium. So I got all those messages from people.
God. Wow.
So it was not a secret. And people, you know, I'm happy actually with that. But people, the story was covered so much, so they didn't really bother me with questions. I was just okay. And I must say, the first few months being back, I was happy to be back. It was a relief because, you know, at the end of my story, I really got everything like COVID, this all together, company issues. Right. So I was done.
So at that point, you were happy to be gone. But then you obviously made it back into Thailand.
Yes, I mean, my case is settled, so... It's not like I sneaked in through the border or something. Right. And I wouldn't be able to do it anyway because you get now the Cambodia-Thailand issue, right? So that border is like it's too challenging now.
Well, the story that you're going to tell is interesting because it touches on you know, Thai culture. It touches on relationships and being an expat and the Thai legal system and things like that. Yeah. And we should hold this up too. Now you detail this in your book called Kingdom of Trials. Yeah. Murder Was the Case, a true story. Yeah. And this is especially interesting for Ed because, you know, we've talked on our podcast a lot about the justice system and the Thai legal system, and we've sort of circled around this idea that it's actually a lot more magnanimous and fair than I think a lot of people would automatically believe because there's a lot of gossip about.
That's right. We were just talking.
Stuff.
Yeah, we were just chatting before we began recording. That among expats, there's a real mix of stories. Yeah. You know, you do hear horror stories, but then you hear surprisingly good stories. Yeah. And your story, I guess, is more complicated, but maybe we should just jump into your story. So basically, you were a longtime expat with a real job. You weren't like a bum living on the beach. You were an outstanding citizen. So what happened?
Well, I came, the short version is I came in between a domestic dispute. So... from my ex-wife, which makes it a little bit more complicated, but she had a new boyfriend and that person also worked for me, so he was my right-hand guy in the company.
Oh, geez.
And so it's that's one of the things also that the other side tried to play out, like it's a love triangle and everything.
So your ex-girlfriend's new boyfriend was your right-hand man in your company.
Yes.
Oh God.
But okay, I will step back a little bit because it's we came here together. So it was my Belgian wife. 16 years ago, we came here together, and after a year, we said, okay, this is not working. Working and living together. So what are we gonna do? Are we gonna go back, try to save the marriage, or we gonna keep working here and follow our dream? And we instantly both said, okay, we stay here, we follow our dream, and we go our own way. So it was very long time ago, and we were very young. So since then, we are actually business partners.
Gotcha.
And then, the guy, he was from Singapore, and he was a very smart, handsome guy. We were in the beauty business. He spoke Thai, so he had some things that we were missing. So, at some day, her name is Sarah. She said, look, I got somebody potential that can work in the company, that can help us. We were really looking for good people because it's still challenging here. So I said, okay, why not? I didn't have any grudges or whatever. And I met the guy, and we hit off like friends from the very first moment. And, in the company, I actually had a better relationship with him than they had because quite fast you saw them that they had issues, and in the company, a lot of fights and arguments between them, and I always had to interfere, right? So okay, guys, calm down, and I was like the
peacemaker.
The peacemaker.
Right.
Until that evening, so the fight got out of hand. So I kept getting phone calls from her and from Sarah and her parents because they were here. They were in Pattaya at that moment. They couldn't make it back on time. So, and it was really getting out of hand. So at first I said, leave me out of it, right? I said, I was at a networking in Chongnong-si somewhere. I said, look, I'm done with this shit. You guys need to solve your own stuff, right?
Yeah, sure.
And but then, I heard stories from the mom and dad that he was holding a knife against her throat, that he was threatening to jump out of the window with her and the kid, and so it was okay. So I was then planning to meet up with a friend of mine to go into the city, and I told him okay, I need to make a stop first at that place, just see, because I did that 100 times already. So you don't think that it's gonna really get out of hand,
right?
And then I came there, and so I came in the condo, and everything was a complete mess. He was out of this world. He was so I told to Sarah, okay, you go in with the kid in the living room. I tried to calm him down, so I tried to talk about small stuff. I remember that at that moment, Jose Mourinho was the new coach of Manchester United. Okay. He was a United fan, right?
Okay.
So I tried to talk to try to take the attention away.
Calm him down, right?
Yeah. And then he started to turn against us as well. So my friend who never met him was sitting next to me. And so he started attacking my friend. Well, first he attacked me, but I said, okay, look, I'm not going to go anywhere. He ripped my shirt. He tried to hit me. So I said, okay, look, you can hit me. I'm going to keep sitting here till the police is coming. Because that's another thing. The police we tried to call the police already for almost 2 hours. A certain moment, the police said no, sorry, Miss Sarah have to call herself. That's only when we can come interfere. So she had no phone. She had a knife against her throat, but she had to call herself. So that was a little bit of a weird thing.
Right.
Then he attacked my friend, and we had to control him. So we controlled him, put him on the ground, tried to control him, and then the police finally came in. So then we stepped away. We went to sit in the sofa, and the police was with his leg tipping, and he was not moving anymore. So then we flipped him, and we saw that he peed his pants. So, somewhere in that thing he probably that's what we think from the autopsy, that he didn't get any air while we were controlling him. Right?
Oh, he asphyxiated somehow. Yeah,
and but then the ambulance came in, and they recovered him again. Because we were sitting there, and the machine was teet, teet, like the heartbeat, right? But very slow.
He woke up.
Yeah. So we thought, okay, big relief. So the police asked me and my friend to come to the station to give some statements, and but everything seemed fine. We were not handcuffed. We were, the police was joking with us in the car.
Sure, yeah.
Also about football, and it was very weird atmosphere. So we said, okay, we go give our statement, and then finally we can go on with our plans. So we were sitting in the station for a while. in a big in Klong Tan station, right? So that's behind Tong Lo is one of the main stations. And then all of a sudden, one of the officers came in and he said, "Your friend, he died."
Oh my gosh.
So they didn't save him.
Yeah, so he died in the ambulance going back. So that's when everything started. That's when a real nightmare started.
So they did not let you leave at that point.
In the station, because we sat there the whole night, because then they called up one of the big inspectors. He came to the station, called him out of bed. He walked into the room. You immediately see that he was one of the big guys.
Right.
And that was to interview us about everything that happened. But in the station, the entire night, the atmosphere was, never been put in a cell, never get handcuffed. We had our phones. We had people around us to help, to translate. So I called my then ex-girlfriend to help translate. She's a big part of the book as well. And until the morning, we gave all the interviews, and it was Friday to Saturday. So at a certain moment, it was like 10 a.m. or something, and we had to go to the court. Luckily, the court is open on a Saturday till 12:30.
Okay.
So, and the police said, "Look, for me, I understand. I'm not gonna. How do you say? I'm gonna give a positive advice to get bail, but you guys have to go now. Now because if you're too late, you're gonna have to go to prison until Monday.
They hold you there over the weekend, right?
Then you go to Klong Prem prison." And so we had to sign a document. That's where mistake number one happened. So for everybody listening, I would really advise you to never sign a document without a lawyer present.
Oh, yeah.
But, because for us, the mood was feeling cozy and everything seemed...
Yeah, you didn't know you were in any kind of trouble.
Well, it was not looking good, that, because but we didn't have the feeling like, okay, they're really out to get us.
But like you said, you weren't in a cell or anything. You weren't handcuffed. You were just sitting there with your phone and talking to people.
Yeah. So then, we had to sign the document, and Apple, who was translating for us, she said, "Yeah, the document is saying that you were in a fight and somebody died," which sounds about right, because that's what literally happened, right? So we said, okay, we signed the document. But what we didn't know at that moment is that we signed a manslaughter charge.
Oh, geez.
Yeah.
Oh, so your translator did not do a great job.
Well, but we can also not blame her. She's not a lawyer or...
she was just a civilian friend,
she was
right?
my ex-girlfriend.
Right,
so,
yeah.
Right.
I was lucky enough to get her already because she did all the translation. And that's one of the things that happened correctly. That's how do you say, the interview, right? The police, whatever he recorded, is kind of evidence number one,
sure.
Right? So that was done quite okay. So,
well, it's one of those things where it's technically the truth. There was a fight and the guy died.
Yeah.
But there, in legal cases, there's a lot more nuance and texture that needs to be considered.
Yeah. So that was, and then we had to rush to the courthouse. So there's the first time we got handcuffed, obviously because you sit in that prison transport, and there was a third guy. So we were with three guys cuffed to each other.
Oh wow!
And there was a Thai guy, and then the judge. So I was also a little bit weird. So we come in the courtroom. There was a big TV screen, and the judge came on the screen. And again, Apple was translating for us. So the judge quite quick said, okay, bail approved, 200,000 baht each. It was then 12-ish. So we had 30 minutes to get the cash out.
Oh, God.
But I don't know if you know Bangkok's South Criminal Court. It's Sharon Krun, 63. There's nothing there, nothing. So, so we had a lot of people waiting outside. So they had to get the 2 times 200,000 baht out of ATMs. So they had to run everywhere.
Oh,
and,
you mean your friends who were there with you?
Yeah.
Oh,
so,
wow.
there were people.
That's rough.
Wow. Yeah. And then, but an ATM in Thailand is 20,000 baht, 20,000 baht, 20,000 baht.
There could be limits, right? Sure.
So we had the first 200,000 baht, rushed to court, said, okay, here, this is for Kevin already. They went out again, get second 200,000 baht, but that was too late. So my friend, he did go to, the guy who was with me did go to Klong Prem.
Oh, wow.
But, at that time he said hey, it's okay. I always wanted to see inside how it looks like. So it's
glass half full.
Yeah.
Right.
So, but I can tell you that because he got bail, but he relied on us to get him out. And on Monday he was, I wrote it down in the book. He was getting quite scary. So he thought shit, those guys are keeping me inside here, right? So he put actually kind of his fate in our hands. luckily we didn't have any bad intentions, so but there's a process you need to follow. But I can tell you he was getting pretty nervous on Monday.
Right.
And
But
then
you got him out, is what you're
yeah,
saying.
yeah, because the bail was already approved, right? So it was just a matter of depositing the money because they wouldn't accept it anymore at that moment. And also, I mean, the reason that I went out was because I had all the evidence on my body. My shirt was ripped. I was full of bruises. I got a bite mark on my arm. So we had to go record that, So there's two things that I really need to advise everybody. One, make sure you get a very good lawyer instantly. And number two, I mean, you need to be lucky with the people around you that they are clever enough to think of. And Thai people, surprisingly, it looks like it's standard protocol for them. They are very switched on when something like this happens.
Oh yeah.
I think really like they.
You mean in terms of taking
What
pictures?
to do? Like okay, Kevin, we have to go to the police station to record all those bruises, and we did that outside of the police, right? And eventually, that's all what was quite
so
important.
then you can say, oh, we also have all of this evidence
Yeah,
here.
yeah,
this
yeah.
supporting
So they
evidence.
are like, and
Great. That's
they're
great.
like all calling lawyers, and while you sitting inside, so they are quite. So
I'll bet you it's because they show on TV. There's just these like very graphic news programs that show
Yeah.
crime and murder
right,
and mayhem.
right. Maybe.
Over breakfast kind
Yeah.
of thing, right? Like when my mother-in-law was living with me, I'd come out and in the morning and I'd call it, oh, Kunyai is watching Who Died Last Night. That's her favorite TV show.
Oh, jeez.
Yeah, and I also think that within their families, I mean, I always say that Thailand, we all love Thailand, that's why we're here. But I also believe it has a very dark underbelly, and things happen in families here. you
Yeah,
know.
and as foreigners, we don't see that a
Usually.
lot. The
Yeah.
the really graphic, seedy stuff. I think
Yeah.
it's on a level that we don't really interact with.
Yeah, and also because it's also a little bit, Bangkok is a little bit different than I think the villages and the cities
Right, yeah.
outside of Bangkok.
So you made bail, which was
Yeah.
good. And then what was the next step?
The next step, you have a 84-day investigation. So 7 days, 84, 7 days of 12, no, 7 times 12 days. That's when the investigator always is doing his investigation, and then he renews 12 days and renews.
Oh, okay.
So if an investigation is done quick, it can be done after 12 days. Ours lasted 84 days. And then, so we were kind of towards the ending of the 84 days because there's communication between the lawyers and the police. And so we were under the assumption that the prosecutor would lower the charge from manslaughter to negligence, which in our mind would have made more sense, right? So
Yeah.
we had no intention to hurt him. So
Because the whole thing was just a terrible accident.
yeah,
Right.
but that's how we saw it, right? So there's, and then I was sitting in the office waiting for the phone call from the lawyer. And then the phone call came in and he said to me like, Kevin, I don't have very good news. So I said, okay, yeah, what? The prosecutor increased the charge to murder.
Oh, my gosh.
So at that moment, so, then I was standing and the feeling, my legs became rubber. I had to sit down. I was like, shit, everybody was sitting with us in the room. And then he said, but it's also a little bit good news. And I said, how can this be good news, right? Well, it's easier to defend a murder charge than a manslaughter or a negligence charge, right? Because a murder charge, you need intent or a motive, and you need a murder weapon, and like you see in the movies and the series. So.
Right. Okay. Interesting.
Now, you don't have to be specific, but was your lawyer Thai or a foreigner living in Thailand?
Well, I'm not going to call him by name, but the guy that I called was one of your previous guests on one of the podcasts, right? So,
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
Okay.
So, and he worked for a big firm at that moment. But in Thailand, it works like that. A lawyer cannot represent you in court, so you have to have Thai lawyers.
Right, in court.
And one time, so our case, me and my friend, we did the same case, so we were in the same defense. But then on top of that, each defendant needs their own lawyer. So you cannot have one lawyer that defends both. So we have actually, so the foreigner in this case, working for a firm, because you have a lot of lawyers here, they kind of act like the soundboard between the Thai lawyers and yourself, so you
sure.
can understand everything.
Yeah.
Right.
But we were sitting with quite a big firm, so also the Thai lawyers spoke very good English. We had, until a certain moment of the case, we had always translators next to us. Every document was translated. I mean, at that time, we didn't have ChatGPT yet, which is unfortunate because that translation costed a fortune.
I'm sure, right?
Yeah, no kidding.
Yeah, but it's something that you need. I mean, you need to know what's going on.
Right.
And that's also where the first thing happens, like you said, right? So a lot of people have horror stories. A lot of people have it's never a good experience, right? But a more decent
a professional experience.
And that's one of the things already where the difference is. If you don't understand what is going on,
Of course, yeah.
your experience drops already significantly, right?
Yeah, no
because
doubt.
there's always fear, and at least we could see what was in the filings, what was in the court rulings. So you kind of know what's going on.
Right.
So yeah, that's, again, I cannot say this enough. Go into debt, borrow money, but you need good lawyers, really. I mean, you have to do everything that you can.
As a former lawyer, would you?
Agreed. I would agree with that.
Yeah.
When I was a lawyer and I worked for an appellate court, so we're working on the second layer, and it's shocking how many legal problems are just caused by just kind of dumb mistakes. You know, so you're it ends up being a 10-year battle, and if the contract had just been written properly, then this whole thing never would have happened. You know, like a lot of things start kind of dumb with a few mistakes that didn't have to happen.
Yeah.
So probably true. So anyway, so you find out the charge is higher. So when it becomes murder, like, is your bail revoked? Like, how does that work?
No, the bail increases. So
But you have to pay more.
So we went then from. There's 2 times that it increased. So we went from 200,000 to 300,000 at a certain moment, and then from 300 to 500,000.
But you were able to stay out.
Yes.
Okay. And then how long was it until? So you had to go to trial, essentially.
Yeah. So the trial came like 1.5 years later.
Oh wow.
Yeah.
So during that period, did you? I mean, I'm just going to throw out some speculation. Were you ever thinking of maybe I should just dash over the border into Cambodia? And like, were you? I mean, you didn't do that. Correct. That's not
but
I don't know the story.
But my friend did, so it's written down in the book.
Oh, okay. Your friend bailed, or bailed on the country.
He bailed on the bail, so we didn't get that money back. So that's no. So he didn't believe in the justice system here, so he was very tense. It's a little bit a sickness that I have. I'm extremely positive all the time. You know, you have to really. It has to be really bad. I mean, it was very bad for me to. Right. I always believe in a good ending because I also believe that we didn't do anything wrong, right? We were there. So after the first ruling, we get 4 years -1 for being cooperative, right? So
okay, but I'm going to clarify. Your partner ran, so he was out of the case.
Well, wait, that's what I'm getting to. So we had the first. So we get convicted. So then we get bailed out again, and that's where he started believing even less in the case because the first conviction was
I see. So you were waiting for an appeal.
Yeah, and then right before, like 2 or 3 weeks before the appeal court ruling, that's when he escaped the country.
Wow.
Gotcha. And then he's now out of the case, so there's no extradition, there's no attempt to bring him back.
No, he's still at, so we went all the way to the Supreme Court. At the Supreme Court, I also didn't get entirely cleared. I get like suspended sentence. But when I got that ruling, there was an arrest warrant for him. So he still got an outstanding arrest warrant.
So he can't come back to Thailand?
I wouldn't advise it, but maybe when, you get cases expire, right?
Statute of limitations and things like that, yeah.
But I wouldn't advise it for him to do that pretty soon. But he didn't have like any Interpol, I mean, the Thai government.
Not like that. Right.
Also because the case kind of with me still being here kind of settled, right?
So
why would they?
Right. So were you able to stay out of jail the whole time while it was on appeal?
We did a couple of days in holding cells and everything. When you're convicted, you go to the cell again. Then the lawyer need to bail you out again, and so we spent some like 3 different days in the holding cell at the court.
And so there was the first layer of appeal, and then a second layer. So you went to the Supreme Court.
We went all the way to the Supreme Court, yes.
And so does that mean you lost in the appellate court as well?
In the appeal court, we had 3 years -1. So they reduced it.
By 1 year.
Yeah.
Okay.
So it's also, for me, it looked a little bit like there is like a system, right? That they slowly reduce, but...
So you never thought of, at that point, when essentially you were looking at 2 years.
Yeah.
Did you ever think, hey, maybe I'll just do the 2 years and.
Oh, absolutely. No. But I always said that, look, my biggest fear was getting kicked out of the country because we discussed it.
Your whole life was here.
Yeah. So I also, because I followed everything that the court asked me to do. So it's a little bit weird, but the moment that my friend ran, after the appeal court, I asked to go to Belgium to visit my family. It was the first time was for work. And they allowed me to.
Oh, wow.
So I flew back 2 times. And then, of course, my entire family and friends, they asked me, like, why don't you just stay here, And I said, no, I have to go back because...
that shows a lot of confidence in the Thai system.
Yeah. No, but for me, it was 1, my life was here. 2, the family he's still my friend, right? So his family would never gotten closure if both of us would run and the case stayed open, right? And it must have been a nightmare for them as well.
Yeah.
Because I still believe till this day that they never understood the result of the case because they didn't have the same type of lawyers. They had a lawyer, but I didn't see much communication between the lawyers. It's a stack of documents like this. We got kind of everything translated, but I still believe till this day that they never got any document translated.
Now, what was the perspective? I'm sorry, what was her name? Sarah was her name?
Yeah.
What was her take on this whole thing? This must have been horrific for her, but was she in your corner defending you?
Well, she was one of the critical witnesses, so it's part. So, you try to understand when the judge reads your ruling, you try to understand and catch words, but it's extremely difficult. But it's only in the Supreme Court that when the ruling came that the judge was always saying Sarah, Sarah, Sarah. And before it was, in the book we call him Ravi, it was always Ravi, Ravi. So then all of a sudden we get the impression that, hey, the court finally understands who the real victim actually was in this case.
So essentially her testimony was good for you.
Yeah, absolutely. So she actually also, I think she spent more than a full day on the witness stand. Mm-hmm. So it was an afternoon and then the next day again before noon. So she was a critical witness or the critical witness because she was inside the room and everything as well.
Right.
So what happened then? The Supreme Court came down with the final decision.
It was actually a pretty crazy story as well because it was with COVID, so the middle of COVID. Nobody could be in the room. So all my friends have to wait outside because I was lucky. I always had a big group of supporters that were in the room as well. And then there was a judge in training. So next to the judge was an intern judge, and so they had to follow protocol pretty strict. And the judge all of a sudden started talking to the, how do you call it again? The clerk, not the clerk, but the marshal, the court marshal. So that's a police officer. Yeah. And in Thai, she asked him are you following proper protocol? But I couldn't understand anything, right? So the guy, oh no, because I'm training a judge here, you have to do it properly. So he came to me and he started putting handcuffs around me.
Oh, wow.
And I thought like, shit, because I didn't know. And also my lawyers didn't know what's going on because the judge... And then the people were outside looking through a small window, like they see the guy coming, slapping the hand. God. But then the guy did like this, so he tapped my hand and he said like, sorry.
Oh, right, okay.
So I said, what the hell is going on, because he can also say sorry that you go to prison for...
sorry about that.
Yeah, sorry.
So you're saying protocol meant you had to be cuffed, even though it was the suspended...
The moment that you step into that court, because I was on bail, but the moment that you step in there for the judgment, you become a prisoner again, right? Okay, so they have to it makes sense also just to make sure you're not running away because I could walk in and out of the court, right? But that was for protocol. And then, a long ruling, it was like super long. And, I saw one of my lawyers was standing in front of me and he was holding his hands behind his back. I saw him always like very nervous, playing with his rope. And I said, shit, this is not going the right way, and reading. But we kept hearing Sarah's name. So that was very confusing. So we knew something was going on. And then, I heard it again, like, okay, three years in prison. So there's a translator next to me. She's from the court. She's writing it down on a piece of paper. 3 years on prison. Okay, so that's it. And then all of a sudden, like an arrow below it, then suspended sentence.
Boom.
So, I'm curious about what does that mean, suspended sentence? It means like, don't worry about it?
Well, basically it means he's convicted.
Yeah.
But you don't have to serve the
the time.
Okay.
But
Yeah.
if you do anything wrong within that 3 years, so the judge, the lawyers made it very clear to me, you get arrested for drunken behavior or whatever, you go inside. So you really need to be on your best behavior. The good, I always say this as a good thing, it was in the middle of COVID, so for me, everybody was on a suspended sentence.
Right. right.
Nobody
No
could
one
leave
was
the
partying,
country,
no one
nobody
was-
could, so it
Yeah,
was the
So
perfect timing
So
to
stay inside, mind my business.
And,
Got it.
and the
There's
3
no
years
problem.
now is over, correct? So that period is now over.
that's happened 17 September 2024 or 23, sorry, and that's when the problem started with the visa.
Oh my
right?
God.
So
Jeez.
and there was also company coming out of COVID, everything going.
Well, because you had a conviction, so that could affect your visa. That makes sense.
Well, I think also that they don't know how to deal with a case like mine, or it's not very common, I think, because usually, again, you have those drug cases, those guys sitting in prison. Governments come between it, right? So they then come, they make an agreement to take you out, they get deported. It's a very straightforward system.
If you're waiting in jail in Thailand as an expat, do you have to go to renew your 90-day check-in? Or?
Well, that's one of the things. Actually, you should. That's why a lot of those guys can never come back because they are blacklisted already because their visa never been. That's one of the
come
things.
on.
So
No.
you need
This
someone-
is really true. This is really true because one of the first things that my lawyer said, we need to make sure that visa stays okay.
Wow.
There were times that because your visa follows, and work permit, by the way, your visa follows every important court date. So if there's a Monday, there's an important court date. Wednesday, there's another one. I had to go back that Monday to renew until that Wednesday. And then after that Wednesday, again renew to the next.
Wow.
I was sitting, I get like 100 or 150 stamps in both my passport and work permit.
Oh, wow.
And the crazy thing is that a lot of times I had to get that work permit and passport done within the same day, or
Brutal.
one of those would expire.
Stressful.
So yeah, it was. I spent so much time.
Stress upon stress upon
I
stress.
spent so much time in immigration that at a certain moment, when I did my last stamp, the lady knew me so well already that she said to me, "Susuna," for the Supreme Court date.
Oh, wow.
That's how good they knew my case. It's like so.
So it is. It's actually not a totally happy ending because you have the conviction on your record.
Well, but that's also, I'm back here, so
You
I'm
win.
not sure. Yeah. And I think also while I was sitting on the suspended sentence, there came an article in the Bangkok Post, but I never really followed up on that people with suspended sentences or sentences below 1 year, it would automatically go from their criminal record.
Oh, nice.
Yeah, that's one of the rules that they did because, there were so many people in jail for a little bit of weed or that, and they don't get any chance anymore, right? So
Right.
suspended sentence, it doesn't come on your...
Oh, that's great.
yeah, and then I had
that's great.
I did have a blacklist, but that's automatically that you get a blacklist because it's actually more like an outgoing blacklist, so do make sure that you stay here. And I was fortunate enough that I had friends that helped me clearing that blacklist in the court.
So that means you can leave and return. If you
Yeah,
want
but
to.
so then actually, but that happened while I was in Belgium, that we cleared it. Before my 3 years were finished, it was like, no, immigration said, no, this is not going to work. You're never going to get, it's going to be very complicated. Nobody could give me the explanation, right? And that's sometimes a little bit frustrated here is that nobody can give you a clear answer, right?
Oh, yeah.
Or a document like, hey, look here, it's
Yeah,
done.
it's very
so
clear.
also that blacklist, so I got it cleared and I had 2 different people checking that. And I said, yeah, but they don't let me take a picture or a screenshot from the screen. You just have to, you have to believe it. So,
Oh, jeez.
and that's so I flew in and I came on the immigration here and very scared, like, okay, it was exciting. Can I go back in or not? It was a big test. Come on that desk and the girl takes my passport and, all my documents. And all of a sudden I see her waving to the superior.
Oh,
and I
geez.
think,
Oh, man.
shit, this
Here we
is
go.
done. And but it was because she didn't understand something in the system because everything changed with that what is it?
The digital entry.
The entry document that you need. So
Oh,
everything
right, right.
changed.
Oh, I see.
So she was like having questions about the system. And luckily I still understand enough Thai to, so I was like, okay. And then she asked, do you have your outgoing ticket? And that's also a good thing that I did, because I was thinking the day before, like, okay, what can go wrong, right? So, yeah, shit, okay, you probably need an outgoing ticket as well. So right before I boarded the plane, I booked that outgoing ticket. And then I came here, and that was the last missing document that I needed to get in. So I had it. So,
Wow.
I made a decision right before boarding.
Man, there's nothing more stressful than waiting in line for something official in Thailand, and then they call their superior over.
Yeah.
I can't imagine, like, with the added layers of bureaucracy and the history of your case. Like, it must have been so stressful.
Yeah. Yeah, so, and, also when that end of the tree, to come back to your previous question, so nobody could help me here, right? So I said, okay, everything lost, company gone. I canceled Thailand out of my mind already at that moment that I came back. And I called the embassy, and they said, like, Kevin, you need to watch out now, because what normally the process is, if your sentence, because it is a sentence, finish, the police is going to come and take you from your home or your office, and they will bring you to Suan Plu. That's the ice from Thailand, where all the deportees, and it's actually worse conditions than prison.
It's a detention center there.
Yeah, the detention, and it's worse than prison.
Bad,
That used to be immigration back in the day. That's what immigration was.
But there's people sitting for years just stuck because they have nobody that helps them, not their embassy. And the process is that they bring you there. They're going to help you book a ticket. So what happens is that they're going to say, okay, a ticket, 40,000 baht. So they probably even make profit on it, right?
Right.
And my embassy said try to get out before that. Try to be ahead of that, because nobody knows when you get out. You will get out, but it can take a few days. It can take a week, because you have to book that ticket through them. So then I went to the probation office, because every 6 months I had to go to the probation office. And they said, okay, perfect behavior, but fine. So they stamped it. I went to the court. I asked them to leave 1 day earlier. So because I really missed my family, that was the explanation. And they said, okay, no problem. So they stamped it. And then I went to the airport myself on that 17 in the morning. And that was also very stressful, because we didn't know that's the right way to do it. But I went through the immigration, everything perfectly fine. People very friendly, because you have to go on a different counter so they see it. Yeah, you have to go aside.
Oh, man.
But they are, really, I don't have any bad experience with through this entire, from the court. And
This is great.
No, there are some things that are annoying and they are bothering. The system, how a trial goes here, is also very unique. So,
but I mean, the whole experience was obviously terrible and tragic and shitty.
Yeah, that's not.
But the bottom line is, you showed a lot of faith in the Thai system when you didn't have to. So you had an opportunity to get out or stay in Belgium.
Yeah.
You decided to put your faith in the Thai system, and in the end, it turned out close to perfect justice.
Yeah.
Maybe perfect justice would have been not like
the case clear.
Yeah. So in your mind, it wasn't quite perfect. But it sounds like it was pretty damn good.
It's the experience, the way that people treat you, right? So I can give you an example from this. When I was in the holding cell, we came in, and I was alone that time already, not with my friend anymore. So I was wearing a suit. So you need to take everything off, right? So I started undressing, and I'm trying to take my boxer short out, because the first time we had to do that. And the guy, he recognized me from before and said, "Oh, it's okay, I trust you. So I said, okay, great.
Yeah.
Pull the boxer short back on, it's... But then I was sitting an hour or two in the cell. There were 3 or 4 Burmese guys coming in. And, I saw how they get treated. Trust me, then you should be very happy, because the guys, they had to go sit on their knees. One of the guys wasn't, he maybe didn't understand immediately what happened. So the guard, he hit him on his head. Like,
oh, wow.
They had to kneel. So
brutal.
I was sitting there like, whoa, I dodged a serious bullet here to...
Sure.
So there is like, and yeah, it's like you see on the street, when you are a foreigner here, people are smiling at you. They're very friendly at you. That also goes in my experience in the court. So that's
interesting. That's good news.
Yeah.
And so it's obviously an incredible story. And then when it was all over, obviously you decided to write this.
Yeah.
This thing right here, which is what we're
Kingdom
talking
of Trials.
about.
Yeah, a lot more detail in there too.
How long did it
Photos,
take you
everything.
to write the whole book?
Well, I had there was a Canadian, by the way, a Canadian guy. I think I can say his name, Kent Wiley. I don't know if you know him.
Sure.
Yeah.
I mean, I know who he is.
Yeah. So he told me even before this happened already, he always said, wow, Kevin, you need to write a book, because I was going through a lot of company issues and, trying to be the young entrepreneur, trying to make it in Thailand. And then this came on top of that. So people kept telling me, now you really need to start writing it down. So I started writing it when I was still going through the case, because, it's a lot of
all the notes, all the information. Yeah, makes sense.
So first I hired somebody on Upwork, because I saw a profile, wrote Netflix shows and everything. So I was a little bit sold. I said, okay, this is exactly what I need. It didn't work out well, because she never came to Thailand, nor does she, as she was a woman. And people said, this doesn't sound like you, Thailand, you need to feel, you need to have been here to understand the smell, the colors, the vibe, And then I met James, so he's the guy that I wrote it with in a writers club. So I came there and I said, I need to finish my story. Immediately the entire meeting, all the writers listening to it. And he said, look, I write it with you, And so we started writing then. It was like 2-3 years ago. That's when we really started writing very intense. And then it took us 6 months to write the entire book.
Wow.
Feedback is very good. I mean,
it's for sale right now on
Amazon. Yeah.
On Amazon.
Unfortunately, we don't have hard copies here yet. We're trying to figure it out how to do it, because Amazon prints them on demand, which is good because you don't have any upfront investment, because you don't need to order 10,000 books and they're sitting here in a room somewhere.
Right.
So that's a good thing. But we are looking into other ways as well, because it's tough. Also because shipping to Thailand takes a little bit longer time. It goes quite fast, actually. It's like 4 or 5 days. You have the book here.
Okay. Well, I love the idea, because the cliche Thai prison story is, like the Hollywood movie is people who get totally screwed over and end up in prison for 10 years.
Right.
And then
They've literally made movies about that.
Maybe Prayer Before Dawn was the last one, right?
Yeah, I mean, maybe there's justice at the end, but it's just a nightmarish thing. And I would say your story is scary, but you seem to have avoided the worst. You avoided the nightmarish stuff, luckily.
But that was also the entire goal of the book. We didn't want to, we literally say it in the opening word. It's not your typical Falang story that. And it's actually funny, because a lot of people told me, but why are you writing a book? You never really went to prison.
That's right.
People don't want to read it.
But
the book is good enough to, and it's also because it's 2 timelines. So it's a timeline from me moving here in 2009 and really walking you through my experience on how to come here as a young guy. We talk about the red shirt protests, so we pull in those things as well, a little bit like a travel book. But then the next timeline is that hard part, that hardcore court, prison. And there's a prison story in there, so people don't have to worry, because I got another friend, and our cases were synchronized, but he was inside prison and I was out.
Oh, wild.
So I also went to his first ruling, because, we wanted to see how everything was going, because we didn't have a ruling at that time yet. And so I saw both sides. I mean, we were actually here, 2 defendants screaming at the gate to him while he was standing in that orange jumpsuit and shackles around his ankles. So we have also that contrast in there. So people don't have to worry. There is some prison in there.
Well, it seems the big takeaway then is don't do anything without a lawyer.
Yeah,
that's really, and I mean, I was at a Rotary event last week, and I said the same there. I mean, go into depth, try to do everything, set up a fundraiser, but don't skip that part, because you really, that's where those bad experiences happen. And there's another thing, just don't do drugs, right? But that's what we all say. But that's do drugs, but don't sell it or whatever it is, right? Don't get caught with that.
Sure.
Because then you really, they don't laugh with that. That's not
the drug cases.
Yeah, then you don't get bail. You can forget it, right? Because you're a flight risk instantly, because those people, right? And then you sit in Klong Prem, and then you sit in those horrible conditions, and then it can never be good, because how can it be good if you're sitting in a room with 40 people sleeping on the floor on a square meter? Because that's still the reality in prison here, right?
Mm-hmm. Absolutely.
Yeah,
absolutely.
That's one of the things that I did at night. Everything that was online on Google from prison, I saw. So there was a moment also that the prison in Lang Suan, the cameras from the prison get hacked. So it was on YouTube, like a live stream.
Oh, wow.
And I was the one who then sent to Khao Sot under a fake name from, hey, that prison thing is hacked, right? Because I didn't want to get connected to it.
Oh, right.
Something need to be done. So they then posted it. It was taken offline like an hour after. And that story got into the New York Post and all the thing because you really saw the conditions in prison.
So you were trying to
remember that.
prepare yourself in case you ended up
Oh
there.
yeah, I knew if I read all the books. You know,
Oh, wow.
you get that
Jeez.
guy. There's one foreigner, David McMillan or something. He's the only foreigner ever that escaped from prison here.
Yeah, I read.
And it's like 30 or 40 years ago. He was a smuggler, drug smuggler. He tells it with a lot of pride, by the way, if you see his podcast.
Well, there also was the sad sack the Australian guy who wrote the novel. He wrote a novel that was totally fictional, but then he got busted for lèse majesté.
Yeah.
Oh
And
yeah.
And he ended up in prison, and his sentence got commuted order. He got pardoned, but he had to leave the country.
Yeah.
And that story is a nightmare.
Yeah, but it is. I can imagine it's not fun of being in there. Right? That's because the guy that I know, he was then later exchanged with France. He had to do 6 months there because the agreement is that you actually have to sit your sentence that you got here, but convert it to the local sentence. So meaning if you get 36 years here for smuggling 100 grams, whatever it is, in France it would only be 4 years.
Oh, I see. So they give you the
reduced sentence, but you still need to do it.
Sure.
So then if you still need to do 6 months, that's the agreement that they make with Thailand, right?
It's the worst conversion rate ever.
Yeah. And then I talked to him afterwards and he said, like, Kevin, if I could bomb that entire country, I would. So he got he got really damaged by what happened inside prison. I don't know what happened inside, but the conditions were so bad. He said, if I could bomb that entire country, I would.
Wow.
I mean, to say something like that.
You mean, speaking of Thailand, you mean?
Yeah, he said, if I could bomb that entire Thailand, I would. Because he said it's human rights violation, front and center.
I told you not to claim I'm always right, but we did a goofy show where I listed 10 things I would do if I was Thai Prime Minister.
Yeah.
And one of my things is build a modern prison system because the system is so unfair. Like once you get in there, like you said, it's massive human rights violations. So that was on my list.
But they take some steps
prison
already,
system.
right? Because you get the ankle brace, the monitors now, and you know, in prison it's also not a walk in the park anymore. Eh? Overcrowded, old.
Sure.
Yeah, so the conditions are not far off anymore. But you get maybe a little bit better food and everything. But those prisoners are also cramped in small rooms together. Eh? So it's not
no doubt.
Prison still is prison. Eh?
It's
so
prison, yeah.
There's some countries in Europe that do it very good, where you look like you're sitting in a hotel.
Well,
But
yeah.
prisons-
Well, if you're Jeffrey Epstein, then you get the hotel room.
Right.
But other than
But then you need to watch out because then there's prisoners next to you that come kill you, right?
That's right,
Apparently,
that's right.
so that's.
Well, Kevin, thanks a lot for that story, man. And there's a ton more detail in here. It goes into
It's. I mean, not to promote it too much, but it's a good story.
I'm psyched. I want to read it.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's great. Well, I'm glad to see you out in the free world.
Yeah,
and
thank you.
It's a terrible thing that happened, but I'm glad that everything worked out in your favor. And
For sure.
You're a rule of law guy, so
I'm a rule of law guy. It sounds like justice was almost done 100%. So,
Yeah.
So where can people follow you, learn more about you, get the book?
The book is on Amazon, and the podcast and all the channels will have the same name, Kingdom of Trials.
Kingdom of Trials.
Kingdom of Trials.
I like the
Murder
name.
was the case.
Yeah, because the name is it's not only the trial, but also the trials of living in the kingdom, and so it's a little bit more than
I
just.
see a
like
double entendre there.
I like it.
Yeah.
Kevin, thanks so much, man. Great to talk to
Okay,
you.
good.
Thank you,
as
sir.
well.
Man, I really enjoyed doing that. It's cool to try out video. Also, his story actually is unique. It's not actually I mean, obviously, it's just weird. I mean, he's involved in a situation where someone died, which, that's unique. But as we discussed with him, just the way the whole thing played out is not what a lot of people would have expected to happen. In the end, justice was more or less done.
Yeah, and I think his story, as terrible as it was, could probably have taken place in a lot of other countries. Maybe not as slick or as quickly, or like there was definitely some hiccups that might not have happened in the West. But
Right.
But it was a fairly straightforward case as far as these terrible things go, like there wasn't some terrible like double crossing or
it was handled
scandal or something.
Again, obviously we talked about it in the interview, but in a way it was kind of handled pretty professionally. I mean, I think as foreigners, there's just the constant paranoia that you're misunderstanding something. So it's even though it kind of ended up being handled properly, I'm sure it was incredibly stressful. I mean, I can't imagine being in that situation and just not knowing, and the temptation to run and not come back, and the fact that he was able to leave the country and then chose to come back. I mean, it just shows so much confidence in the system, but it paid off. That's why
I agree.
That's why this is a great story. Like this story has to get out there. Like this is a part of the reason why you and I wanted to do this interview in the first place.
Right. And we always talk about this, like we love good cop stories, like when the cops in Thailand are helpful.
That's right.
Or go above and beyond. And this is that story from two different angles. Like, first of all, the justice system worked as written. I mean, maybe it's Thailand justice system doesn't work like we're used to or like we want to, but there are still rules that play out and have to play out.
That's right.
But also it shows a guy with a lot of integrity and a lot of belief in Thailand that he,
that's right.
He, like you said, he could have just not come back, but he loves it here. He believes in how things work here, and he let things play out as they would have normally and as they did. Yeah.
And it also, the other, how do I explain this? It's you and I were chatting before we started recording about how sometimes we read about expats in Thailand who just have these experiences that you and I have no relation to. Like we like that never happened to us. We don't know. And there's just another part of Thailand that we've never been, which could be good. And like his story is like that. It's just like I've barely interacted with the Thai justice system. Like luckily it's good. So I just don't know that world. Like, I've never been arrested. Like I've never had close friends get sucked in, which might also suck me in, where I'm like, oh, I got to go to court, my buddy. I've never had to go to court. And like I'm a lawyer, I'm an American lawyer, but in Thailand, I've just avoided the entire justice system, again, which is probably good. And so that's why it's great to hear from another long-term expat who is just having this whole experience that's beyond our scope.
Right. Yeah, exactly. Yeah. And I'm glad it worked out for him and he's back now. This is his home, like it is for you and I. So anyway, thanks Kevin for coming on. It was really great to talk to you. A great story. And thanks for having us down to your studio.
For sure.
The book, Kingdom of Trials, Murder Was the Case, a True Story. It came out in beginning of September. So it's out now. It's on Amazon. You can buy the Kindle version. You can buy the hardcover version. You can buy the paperback version. Check it out. And I'm looking forward to reading it. It might take me a while because, as we've said before on the show, man, I read so slowly these days. But it sounds like a really, really compelling story. And again, Kevin, thanks for coming on and telling us how it works.
Absolutely. Thank you, Kevin. So as we mentioned at the beginning of the show, we'd like to say thank you to George for lending us his support at the show shadow level. And Greg, what did you find out about George?
Well, I had a few emails back and forth with our new pal, George, and seems like an interesting guy. He's a little bit older than we are, but he is still coming back to Thailand regularly to adventurize and explore, which is really cool. And it's going to be funny because, as I mentioned in the intro at the beginning, I'm going to get him out on a bike ride, but it's going to be a pretty funny bike ride. So let me just read the message he sent here. He said, my wife and I started going to Bangkok once per year a few years ago. I could say we love the culture of Bangkok, but that sounds too formal. It's more of a vibe that resonates. The energy, positivity, food, markets. I guess we all know what he's talking about there. I am one of those old white guys with a beautiful Asian woman on my arm, but we've been together since we met as university students in Kingston, Ontario, and we're now seniors in California. My Laos-born, culturally North American wife is mostly amused by the fisheye puzzlement she sometimes gets from locals trying to figure her out. Our first 2 times in Bangkok, we stuck together most of the time, but on our 3rd annual visit in 2025, we started heading in different directions. A little more walking around for one of us and a little more shopping for the other. The highlight of my independent exploration were the voice map tours. So thanks for introducing me to those, Greg. Those are the tours that I do right on the side. They're the GPS guided tours. So a little shout out for myself there. Now here's what he says about the bicycle. I wish I could explore this city by bicycle, but I'm not that brave anymore. Even though I was the nut growing up in Canada who would cycle in a snowstorm, I don't bounce as well as I used to. So as a substitute, I'll be bringing a 10-pound folding kick scooter to extend my range and make the dreary sections go by quicker. Fingers crossed that this is not a terrible idea. Thank you for such a wonderful podcast and the tips for avoiding demerit points. So I told George, I said, that sounds great. And it's funny because I've got another friend named Gary who's about the same age as George. And Gary just recently bought one of those folding bikes that look kind of funny with the little Thai wheels. And Gary's hooked up a bunch of cameras to this thing. So he's driving around all over Bangkok. So I thought, George, why don't you join? So I'll be out in front with my big mountain bike.
Right.
Gary will be behind me with his sort of like half little bike with his tiny wheels, and George will be behind Gary on his little scooter. So I called it the Goldilocks ride. Like there's Papa Bear, Mama Bear, and Baby Bear rolling down the street.
It would be a rare case where you might actually look the coolest of the three.
Well, we haven't met George. We haven't seen his skills on a scooter. Maybe he'll be like going up on the curb and doing jumps and bunny hops and stuff off the pavement. You never know. But great. Thanks for writing, George, and thanks for your support. That's really cool. We're glad getting some usefulness out of the podcast. And let us know when you're in town with your scooter in tow.
For sure. Thank you, George. Alrighty, a final thanks to our patrons who support the show. Patrons get a ton of cool perks and the warm fuzzy feeling knowing that they're helping in our never-ending quest for cool content. Find out more by clicking support on our website. And connect with us online. We're Bangkok Podcast on social media, bangkokpodcast.com on the web, or simply bangkokpodcast@gmail.com. We love hearing from our listeners and always reply to our messages.
That's right. Now check out each episode on YouTube. You can send us a voicemail through our website. We'll feature that on the show. Hit me up on Blue Sky where I am BKK Greg. Thank you for listening, everyone. I'll see you back here next week.
For sure.